Why did the FBI give Mr. Strzok $1.2 million and Ms. Page $800,000 to settle a lawsuit?
Senator, I do not know that settlement was reached in the prior administration.
Who made the decision?
The prior Department of Justice.
Who in the prior Department of Justice?
The settlement for that kind of case can only come from the Attorney General, which would be the Attorney General.
What you are about to see is a masterclass in how to corner a witness who is used to giving Washington answers. When Kash Patel sat down in front of Senator John Kennedy, the room thought they knew the script. They thought it would be the usual back and forth about budgets and agency funding. But what Kennedy did next was something nobody on that committee expected. He didn't just ask about policy, he started asking deeper questions that challenged the idea of equal treatment under the law. From a judge in Wisconsin to the inner sanctum of the FBI, Kennedy was hunting for the truth about who actually gets protected in this country and who gets the sick bucket. I'm telling you now, you need to watch this until the very end, because the moment that broke the entire room, the question that left everyone breathless, wasn't about emails or laptops. It was about a name that powerful people never want mentioned in public hearings. Hit subscribe real quick because this reveal is something you don't want to miss. Now, watch how Kennedy sets the trap.
Mr. Director, worry not, we'll make sure your agency is adequately funded. This judge you arrested in Wisconsin, she was breaking federal law, wasn't she?
Yes, that's why we arrested her.
She was helping an illegal immigrant escape being taken into custody. Is that right?
Yes, and the field agents decided to open the case, work the case.
And as Americans, do we get to pick and choose which laws we want to follow?
We do not.
If you're a state court judge, do you get to decide you don't want to follow federal law? No. And if you violate federal law, you get arrested, don't you?
Yes, Senator.
That's called equal treatment under the law, isn't it?
Yes, Senator.
You remember Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, don't you?
Yes, Senator.
Mr. Strzok worked for the FBI. Mr. Strzok worked for the FBI. I think Ms. Page worked for Justice. The Inspector General found in its investigation that they hated President Trump and they really wanted Secretary Clinton to win. Is that true?
That's correct, sir.
And this would be the same same Ms. Page who sent an email to Mr. Strzok with whom she was having an affair. Trump's not ever going to become president, right? Right? And Mr. Strzok with the FBI, senior official at the FBI, replied, quote, no, he won't. We'll stop it. Did I read that correctly?
You did, Senator.
Kennedy starts with a simple premise. Do we get to pick and choose which laws we follow? The answer, of course, is no. He highlights a judge in Wisconsin who was arrested for helping an illegal immigrant escape custody. It's a simple example of breaking federal law. But then, the pivot happens. Kennedy shifts the focus to the untouchables of the FBI, Lisa Page and Peter Strzok. These aren't just names. Many people see them as symbols of bias inside the system. Kennedy isn't just asking about their opinions, he's asking about the money.
Now, Ms. Page got quit before she could get fired. Mr. Strzok was fired. And predictably, they filed a lawsuit because in Washington, it's easier to divorce your spouse than it is to fire a federal employee. Why did the FBI give Mr. Strzok $1.2 million and Ms. Page $800,000 to settle a lawsuit?
Senator, I do not know that settlement was reached in the prior administration.
Who made the decision?
The prior Department of Justice.
Who in the prior Department of Justice?
The settlement for that kind of case can only come from the Attorney General, which would be Attorney General Merrick Garland.
So the Attorney General decided to give Mr. Strzok $1.2 million and Ms. Page $800,000 after they were fired after actively interfering in the 2016 election. Is that right?
My understanding is that was a settlement they agreed to.
This is where your jaw is going to drop. Peter Strzok and Lisa Page were fired or quit after the Inspector General found they hated the sitting president and were actively working to stop him from winning. They filed a lawsuit, and instead of fighting it, the Department of Justice, under Attorney General Merrick Garland, decided to cut a check. We're talking $1.2 million for Strzok and $800,000 for Page. That's $2 million of taxpayer money paid to them. As Kennedy famously puts it, pass me the sick bucket, please. Think about the irony here. If a working-class American breaks a minor rule, they face the full weight of the law. But if you are a senior FBI official involved in controversy, it can look like you are treated differently. It's the oldest trick in the book. The people in power look out for their own, while everyone else is left to fend for themselves.
The Hunter Biden laptop. In October of 2016, shortly before the election, the New York Post wrote a story that was widely covered talking about Mr. Hunter Biden's influence peddling scheme based on his laptop. A couple of weeks later, Secretary of State, soon-to-be Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, organized a group of 51 so-called intelligence experts. Had some real rock stars on the list. Jim Clapper, John Brennan, Michael Hayden, Leon Panetta, and they said, oh, no, the story in the New York Post is not true. It's based on Russian disinformation. You remember that?
I do, Senator, as the lead investigator for Russiagate for the House Intel Committee.
Yeah. The FBI had had the laptop for 10 months, hadn't they?
They did, Senator.
So the FBI knew right before the election that it wasn't Russian disinformation, didn't they?
And that was confirmed by the Inspector General's report.
Yeah. Who at the FBI refused to let the FBI tell the American people the truth?
I don't have that name in front of me, sir.
Well, would you look?
I will, sir.
I'd like to know. I'd like a name, not a division. I'd like the name. Person with a brain and a beating heart.
Yes, sir.
Before we get to the final reveal, Kennedy brings up the intelligence experts. Remember them? The 51 rock stars like John Brennan and Leon Panetta, who signed a letter claiming the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation. Kennedy forces Patel to admit the truth. The FBI had that laptop for 10 months before the election. They knew it was real. They knew it wasn't a Russian plot, but they did not speak up while others made claims to the public. Kennedy is demanding names. He wants the person with a brain and a beating heart who refused to let the truth.
Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself or did somebody kill him?
Senator, I believe he hung himself in a cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
When do you think you'll have it done, Cash?
I think in the near future, sir.
Like before I die?
Senator, we've been working on that, and we're doing it in a way that protects victims and also doesn't put out into the ether information that is irrelevant for production to the public, such as CSAM.
And there it is, the question that changed the temperature of the room. Out of nowhere, Kennedy asks the one thing no one saw coming. Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself, or did somebody kill him? The response? A standard, I believe he hung himself, followed by a vague promise to release the information in the near future. Kennedy's retort is the perfect summary of public frustration. This isn't just a hearing about one director or one agency. It shows how some people believe the system protects certain individuals. We see a $2 million payout for disgraced officials, while the average American is told to follow the law or face the consequences. It's the same philosophy we've seen before. If the cost of doing business increases for the elite, the government bails them out. But if the truth is inconvenient, whether it's about an election year laptop or the death of a high-profile criminal like Epstein, the information gets worked through until we forget to keep asking. The moment that broke the room wasn't just the question about Epstein, it was the realization that we are still being told to wait for the truth while the people in power are robbing us blind. That's what many people see as the real problem. And as long as we keep looking at the distractions they feed us, they will keep getting away with it. What do you think? Was it a suicide, or is there a bigger list they are hiding? Let me know in the comments.